Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever this video finds you, I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's Action Figure Showcase, we're going to take a look at part 1 of my ECW collection. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. Welcome back. Like I said, today I'm going to take a look at my ECW collection, and admittedly, I've got a lot in here that I have done, but there's so many things that I don't know if I'll get to it today, but for part 2, at least, I'm going to show you all of the work in progress ECW figures I've got going. I've pieced a bunch of stuff together. I am going to completely revamp the ECW collection, especially, I got a little like a fire under me after seeing that ECW Sandman figure that Mattel has coming. So starting off today, I've got my version of Sandman that I did, and I wanted to use the legs, the McFoley legs that they use for their figure, but I didn't have any. So what I ended up doing was using a pair of spare Usos legs and giving him the like the Zubas pants that he wore, sweatpants he wore, and then he did wear sneakers, so I put on some John Cena feet. And then the head sculpt is from Tom Veg, and I got it in a lot, I think before I just had the Jack's Adrenaline, I think it was Jack's Ruthless Aggression series maybe, that I had on there, but I really like this head sculpt, so my plan is to get both versions of Sandman, both the Chase and the regular. Once that comes out, I'll still use this head sculpt. I don't remember the shirts. I think they're cloth goods shirts that we're getting. I'm trying to remember correctly, but the shirt I have on him is one of his iconic shirts that I think of with Sandman, but I'm pretty sure that's what we're getting with the new release. So regardless, I'll be using this head sculpt for one of them, but opposite of him is one of my ECW Rob Van Dam figures, and this is just one of his repainted Elites. I think it was an Elite 91 in his tiger stripe attire, just repainted it green, and then these decals, this attire is from Living Dangerously, and I think that was, I want to say 1996. I could be wrong on my date there, but I didn't watch, it was hard for me to watch ECW when I was younger, just because it wasn't wasn't on TV every Monday night where I could just catch it. So a lot of my ECW viewing was when I was older, even though I knew a lot of the guys. So starting off today, here we are, Sandman and Mr. Monday Night, RVD. Next up, we have Lance Storm and the first Sabu Elite that I made. Sabu is always one of my favorite ECW guys. He was insane. He was absolutely insane. And that didn't change when he came to WWE. I was so pumped when he came to WWE. Obviously, the original ECW guys that came over had a weird go of it when they came over to WWE. But I'm pretty sure Sabu wrestled for the WWE Championship against John Cena at SummerSlam or something like that, in a tables match or something. And young me was convinced Sabu was going to win. Obviously, I should have known better. There's no way they're going to put Sabu over John Cena at SummerSlam, but I was a big fan, so this head sculpt is actually from his Ruthless Aggression figure at the time. It's repainted, and I think it's a very good figure. I think the likeness is nice, but it's huge. The head itself, it's just, I tried my best to, I put it on a kind of a wider body to make it fit, and I don't think it's terrible, but it is pretty big. So I do have a Heteration sculpt of Sabu that I plan to paint up, but I just haven't gotten around to it. The parts for him were an Usos crotch piece, some thighs from a Dean Ambrose Elite, and then the lowers are from a Bushwhackers Elite figure. And I think that was pretty, a kind of a pretty normal combination of parts there for a Sabu. Who knows if we'll ever get him from Mattel. I didn't expect to get Sandman, so maybe we'll get Sabu, but until then, I've got this one, and then like I said, he's one of them that I'm going to be revisiting, as well as my Lance Storm here. I do like this one. I plan to make another Lance Storm, but I'm just going to keep this one as part of my WCW Collection when he had his brief time there. So this head sculpt is from House 14. I think it's the best Landstorm sculpt that I've seen. I haven't really like looked around. I haven't seen any other ones. Jack's, I didn't really like the ones that they had, and as far as I know, House 14 has absolutely crushed it, and I haven't had a lot of reason to seek out others. So I've got a few of these. I think I have like 3 of these sculpts because I want to use them on other figures or other Lance Storm iterations. But here I've just got him in his like what I think is his classic red and white, and I also need to make Just Incredible. So Just Incredible is coming as well. But there's my Sabu and Lance Storm. Next up, I've got a couple deeper cut characters, some that I thought were just fun to add to my collection. Admittedly, the Joey Styles custom here was extremely simple. I just took a head from one of his Jack's figures, and then I made, I think it was just the Ric Flair Elite, and I just popped the head on there. I kept it very simple, so it's not entirely accurate to a certain time or whatever, but he always wore suits, had a tie, so that's how I just did my Joey Styles, kept it very simple. The other one is Balls Mahoney. I had so much fun making this figure. Just an odd character. Everything about him was just odd. I didn't know him from ECW originally, really, but when he and as well as all the other OG ECW guys came back, I thought he was hilarious. I thought that it was funny that his theme music was just a ripoff of Big Balls by AC/DC, and I thought that song was hilarious. It appealed to everything about young adolescent me, so I had to make him for my collection now. The head is from his original Jack's figure he had, and then I just used the Kevin Owens body. So he always had like ripped pants, so I used some Goldberg lowers on the Kevin Owens body. I gave him the big knee pads, and then I just used a Dremel and like cut a big chunk out of the shorts essentially to kind of give him that ripped look. And then you can see a bunch of decals for tattoos and everything. All those came from Curb Stomp, but the head, it is really big. He had like fluffy hair, and I think it works perfectly fine. But Head Gimmicks does have a really nice Balls Mahoney sculpt I've considered grabbing, but it's just not high priority on the list because we've got a lot of other things I'd like to get to. So there's a Joey Styles. I almost called him AJ. There's Joey Styles and Balls Mahoney. Next up, we have Bam Bam Bigelow, Chris Candido, and Shane Douglas. We have a triple threat. And as I was putting all these on the rotating stand, I realized that my Shane Douglas is about a centimeter away from losing his right leg. It was flopping around. I didn't even articulate it at all. It just, at some point, the peg broke. So, going to be redoing that Shane Douglas. The version we've got right here, though, I used a head sculpt from his original San Francisco Toy Makers ECW figure, and I repainted it. And it was the first head sculpt I'd ever repainted, so it's okay. I wasn't great to start out when I was matching the when I was matching the skin tones, and it's pretty glossy, so it worked. But I'm excited to get another crack at that. The head sculpt I have coming from House 14, the Shane Douglas sculpt, looks really nice, so I'm going to probably just redo the whole figure instead of just popping the head onto here with the busted leg. But the decals for him came from Curb Stomp, same with the Chris Candido. The knee pads came from a Tyson Kidd figure, I believe. The calves and boots are from a Ricochet, and then the boot tassels are from an Ultimate Warrior figure. The head sculpt for Chris Candido came from Head Gimmicks. I think the likeness on that one is really good. I'd also bought his San Francisco Toy Makers figure to use that sculpt, and I think the likeness on that is alright, but it's a little more cartoony, so I was happy to get this one from Head Gimmicks. It is a Bobby Roode body, and then the lowers, I want to say are Sami Zayn calves, and then just like some normal boots, but I thought that was a good body for him. I thought, I originally was going to use a Miz body, and then going back and kind of looking at him in ECW, he was jacked. I didn't realize that he was pretty big. So I thought that this was a good body choice. And then of course the Bam Bam Bigelow is not a custom here. That was in the Legends line, I believe. It came with one of the ECW TV Championship maybe, and admittedly I didn't really remember Bam Bam from ECW, but came with the ECW belt. I assume this attire is accurate because it came with it was meant to be TV champion ECW Bam Bam, but the figure itself I think is really nice. This is probably the best sculpt we've gotten of him. I think the True Effects is really nice. I always thought Bam Bam was really cool. I thought he looked awesome with his big like flame suit. He had tattoos on his head. I thought he looked terrifying. So I think every Bam Bam figure that we've gotten. This is, I don't know, I wouldn't call this my favorite. It's not as colorful obviously with the gray, but I still think it looks pretty rad. So there is Triple Threat. Next up, we have Rhino and New Jack. And New Jack, his original San Francisco Toy Makers figure, was one of the white whales of my childhood collecting days. I wanted him desperately. I looked everywhere. Toys R Us, KB Toys, Walmart, you name it. If there was a store that sold figures, I was there. I looked everywhere. Never got it. And obviously now I just collect Mattels. And I collect Marvel Legends as well, but as far as figures go, I'm getting Jazzwares, I'm getting Mattel, and I had to make my own New Jack. And I think this head sculpt, pretty sure it came from Head Gimmicks, kind of slipping me now. Pretty positive, but the shirt I got from Threadhead Custom Clothing, and then I just put a Kofi Kingston or an Xavier Woods torso onto a Shield body, and I thought that was a perfect fit. I thought about putting a bandana on him, but I didn't want it to mess up the paint on the head. For me, New Jack, he was nuts, absolutely nuts, which was a common theme with ECW, is that they were such a massive alternative to WWE and WCW, and I just thought they were all crazy, and New Jack did nothing to make me think otherwise, and I thought he was just such a crazy character, and I was excited to eventually now be able to make him. He will not be revisited. I like how this one looks. I'm really happy with it, especially the shirt with the tassel, the shoulders and everything. Rhino here, this was a specific ECW attire, towards the end of ECW. I believe Rhino was the last official ECW champ. It's a full Rhino Elite body, but I switched out the disgusting looking shoulders for some smaller ones, which I don't know if they're even I might have gone, maybe they're the Triple H ones. I can't remember exactly now because they just look tiny compared to the gargantuan biceps and forearms they gave him. And I feel like they were going for the right thing. It just wasn't executed well. He had short, stubby arms, and instead of just making them short, they just made them super wide so that they look stubby. And I hated it. It was one of the worst formulas I've ever seen Mattel do. But everything else about this Rhino figure I really liked. The small calves, the huge thighs, the sausage torso. I've said before, the dude was built like a summer sausage, and I firmly stand by that. His build was ridiculous, but he was a character I liked, but I hated him because I felt like he was always costing the guys I liked the most the championships. So there is my ECW Rhino in New Jack. That is going to be everything for today's showcase, though. Like I said, I wanted to show off some of the work-in-progress ECW figures I have here. So, on the way out here, we've got Jerry Lynn and then Sabu. So, like I said, work-in-progress. I'm not going to get into the formulas and everything because I haven't decided fully if this is what I'm going to end up with. But, Jerry Lynn, Sabu, two guys that like I said, Sabu, we're going to redo. Jerry Lynn, I've desperately needed to add to my collection for a bit. Then we've got Juventud, and then we've got ECW Rey Mysterio, and I plan to make this Rey. This is the Legends Rey Mysterio we got in his ECW attire, but it's based on One Night Stand, not when he was in ECW, so I'm going to try and make that a little more accurate, and then the Juventud is going to end up being the red version that we saw in the Legends of the Lucha Libre line that goes along with this mask. And then the last sneak peek here is going to be the Blue World Order with Blue Meanie, Nova, and Big Stevie Cool. And these will undoubtedly look awesome once I finally get around to them and get going. But it's sometimes I just have that wall there and I just can't get going. And these guys have been sitting on the shelf just waiting. But I will get there and they will be awesome. So that is going to wrap everything up for today's showcase. If you like what we're doing here on the channel, go check out some more. Please continue to like, share, subscribe. I always appreciate it. And remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude out.